talked to, they're on the committee, and so far everything's affirmative. As far as, you know, some concern about the actual cost that we gotta work out, and between Craig mentioned he has maybe some forfeiture money and stuff, and Donna, I'm sure he'll work with you on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something we absolutely have to do. The day the unified court system came in and did their walkthrough, how the grand jury was going to be held was a topic of conversation. They thought they could hold it at Department of Social Services, the training room. I didn't think that was a good idea for multiple reasons. And once Craig looked at it, it wasn't big enough anyhow for his needs to socially distance everyone. So we have that large space. It's, you know, it's the perfect opportunity to do something in there, and you know, so it's time to do something with that space and get it back in order, quite frankly. Right. And he says he's got the drug forfeiture funds. I'm not saying in its entirety, but if he doesn't, then we might have to open up a small capital project using the mortgage tax.
But it could actually save us money by using the drug forfeiture money to bring it into a grand jury room. When he doesn't need it, we could use it for something else, and we have it that far advanced.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as remodeling,
Yeah.
repairing, you know, having it use ready.
Yeah.
Paul and Ed, you can hear everything we're saying, okay?
I hear you,
Yep,
yes.
loud and clear.
What
Okay,
are we
good.
using that room for now?
Storage.
Full of junk.
It's a big empty room with no ceiling. Oh, wow, yeah, it's got a bunch of,
And if we do this, what are we gonna do about the next courtroom?
We talked about that the day the courts, the Albany came as well, and that was a no-go.
Okay,
We're trying to get that, and we haven't had any luck at all, but
I mean, I mentioned it 10 times, and
Yeah.
afterwards, Judge Ellis sent me a text and said no-go on the courtroom.
and we actually got to get the regional judge right in there and showed it to him, and he thought it was good, but the girl with him was kind of shaking her head no the whole time.
okay.
So it's.
I actually really tried to get them to say to that, remember? Like
we
maybe
would have
I
to-
embarrassed myself a little bit, actually.
I think we have to pay for the labor to do that, but I think we have the labor anyway.
We have the labor.
Yeah. And maybe they could put a little bit into the state, because we have to give him, he has to turn it into the state to make sure that the state's okay with that amount of money.
Also, they can do a workup on materials and hours and things like that.
It's only ceilings, floor, and there's some sheetrock down.
Yep, and then they'll need to buy some chairs probably and things, but they might just take them out of the grand jury.
That's what he said he could do, yeah. So that was one of the big things we need to want to know, and because he's gonna have a grand jury next month, he thinks, and. So,
Unless the ones that, everybody here is okay with it.
good, good.
All of them are okay.
Yes, good. Okay,
I'm good.
Okay.
Will you do a resolution from the floor to, I don't think it's needed, but it is, so,
so we have a paper trail for the
Yeah.
expenditure of money.
yeah,
Talking about forfeiture money,
Yeah.
we want to have a good paper trail for. It's clearly law enforcement, so there shouldn't really be any
Right.
problem with the utilization of the funds for it.
Yeah.
And the paper trail will be important because.
It's always good to have a paper
For any
trail.
kind of reimbursement.
It never hurts.
never heard.
So, like,
But no, it's a Franklin County space, so it's.
I will renovate that space, the floor for a grand jury room, basically. The request is being made to use, drug forfeiture funds.
Is it the entire space, Donna, or just a portion of what's there? We don't know the square footage.
He thought he'd need pretty much the whole space. There was some toward the back, he said maybe we don't need all that, but I mean, it's a big open room, so why would we do it, just make it work?
Are there separate restroom facilities there as
No.
well? No.
But he said even where they are today, they have to walk down the hall to find the restroom.
Right, they don't,
But he said for privacy reasons, people, witnesses don't want to be coming into the public and things like that.
Jonathan, did you get the email from Craig? Did you get it?
No, I don't think I said.
On the grand jury, no. No.
We okayed it already.
Yeah.
Okay, is it, do we have anything else that's?
No, is Katie was going to come on and talk, I have, but she was supposed to come.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to her about that and see if that's exactly,
10:15.
is that the plan she really wants, or does she want to look at restructuring as well?
You can look at
Restructuring.
She probably needs to have a committee meeting with the committee and public health, public safety, or not public safety,
I
public.
didn't sign those.
Human
yet.
resource committee.
No, I didn't sign them.
She was gonna come talk.
We don't have anything else right there now. Donna, do you have anything that's,
Let me think.
they're gonna tear the smoking shack down, or not the smoking shack, because it's smoking.
The smoke
The-
shack.
The bus building down, I think.
You're gonna take it away.
Yeah, but and I corresponded with Todd. Todd said that the, just bring the, you know, the, no, I want to say the remains, but I know that's not the right word. We're not talking about a body, but just bring the stuff down to the landfill and then away. So in the meantime, and it was very busy last night, in the meantime, the bus is picking up down there now. And I saw, the cars are parked down there, the bus pulled in safely, and the people were getting on the bus. So that was about 5:15 yesterday. It seemed to be working out okay.
I think it's a more convenient location.
So we put a new shack up, we put it down there?
Yeah, I want to see what the cost of a metal building would be.
Then we never have to worry.
I think it's a good spot down there first.
It is a good spot.
So Donna, do people drive their personal vehicles and park them there, then get on the bus to go to a work
Some of them
location?
do. Mhm.
So someone,
That might be better because there's a parking lot.
And then
down
a
there.
lot of them also have pickup, like a drop-off pickup too. I see people waiting for their person to get off the bus. So that should probably work out pretty well. It's an opportunity to make that move.
we just have to plow it out. And I think we do now.
We do anyhow, yeah. We're in the midst of budget preparation.
Talking about budget, just tonight, I was thinking about this when I was reading your email about budget preparation. I wanted on record, duly noted, it is mandated, department heads schedule a meeting with you.
Yep.
Department heads, elected officials, any budget, they schedule a meeting. They can bring their clerk with them, but the department head needs to be there.
And elected officials.
And elected officials. So that way we don't run into any issues.
All the things.
We want to make sure we support you on that, so that way, you know,
That's all, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that last night, and I said, you know what, we're gonna make it on the record that department heads, elected or appointed, need to be at that budget meeting. No more just submitting your plan and walking away, because this year is gonna be extremely
It
tight
is going to be.
on
tight.
everybody's budget. We don't know what we're gonna end up with, you know, any type of funding. So it's going to have to be corresponding with you
And
as,
it doesn't make
that's-
it a point.
that's why they're appointed or elected in those positions.
So is there gonna be a memo issued from this body or from Donna that directs everybody?
I would suggest a memo from this body supporting Donna's
Yes.
budget meetings.
I would agree. So, and I block out times in my calendar, and they call Sandy books them in, you know, she'll open it up, and I'll say budget meetings, you know, there's
Yeah.
3-4 hours set aside on several days out of each week.
They need to explain who's doing it. They need to explain why it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, in person's the only way they can really do that. Email is nice, but it just doesn't work as well sometimes.
That way there you can't say.
No, they can't.
It gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, we had some issues last year, I think, where some department heads complained that they didn't get an opportunity, so.
Right, and this way if they don't want to have a meeting, they have to sign a release for their budget.
Every department had a meeting, it was some
We'll
perhaps
schedule, yeah.
elected officials.
Yeah.
And you call a department head meeting and let them know that you're doing the budget.
Oh, I've had a department head meeting already, and I made that announcement. Penny can attest to that. I've since sent an email and made the announcement, and that the budget is ready, and that once it's a due date, and then, and every year I have a couple of departments that reach out, they can't meet the due date, which we're flexible.
Yep.
The problem is I can't roll the budget for me to do my work until they've all submitted, because if they haven't submitted and I roll it, then they no longer have access to make changes. So we have to stay somewhat on schedule. You know, there's a lot of budget lines to review in the budget.
Yeah, it's a big book.
It's
Yeah,
a big
it's a
book.
big book. And if you need assistance,
Yep.
please come to
Yep.
the head of those
I will.
committees and we will, really important that, you know, we're all together on this one this year because it's gonna be expensive.
It's gonna be a reduction probably.
Now, I heard from the village of Saranac Lake that they got their municipal support from the state. Have we, as Franklin County?
The last notice I received, through NISAC, actually, it's circulating. Michelle hasn't, located the memo, but other counties have, and she's working on that actually. But other counties have been notified that our, DSS funds are on hold, some of them. So maybe we should put our Medicaid payment on hold
Mhm.
Well, that was a recommendation from NISAC.
from some other people, yeah.
I'll get our money's going to.
I mean, because they're having a cash flow issue, but if Fran will attest, if we don't get our revenues in, our reimbursements, then we're gonna have a cash flow issue. So we pay Medicaid there's a weekly charge, so maybe we have to hold off a little bit. Well, of course, we'll pay it, but we might have to pay it when we have the cash flow to do it.
We may need to stagger the
We
payment.
might need to juggle.
Yeah, I think that's for the finance committee and Fran and
Yeah.
and you guys to come up with a plan for that, if that's.
Yeah. Maybe next week we can set up a
Yeah.
meeting.
Because we still can do committee meetings even in here, and it could even, depends on how many's here, but it's.
Yeah.
Or we can break Fran up on the
Not
street.
everybody needs to show up to a meeting.
Yeah, I think the number's gonna bump here a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
So are there other things relative to the budget that would be reinforcing for you, Donna?
Not at the moment. I saw the request from the Board of Election to increase, and I did email them back and ask them to just give us a mini budget of how they would stay within that budget line or transfer in, but some kind of financial plan around that increase.
Okay.
Donna,
Yes,
I've spoke with them, we're gonna have to pass some kind of resolution because the primary is coming up. Primary's the end of this month.
Did you hear
We're
what
gonna have
Donna
to
said?
We're gonna have to do something. Right?
The question is, we're gonna give them more money, that's the.
We haven't decided that yet, it has never been decided up here yet.
But the reason they want more money is because their hours went from noon till like 6 o'clock in the morning. They're working a lot longer hours.
They are.
Instead of doing a primary day, their hours are gonna be the same as an election day. And, I don't know how we can get away with
Is
it.
that what we pay for election day?
Yeah,
I didn't think we paid that much for election day.
yeah, there was a difference because of the hours. Yeah,
So-
they sent out back in the first of,
Yep.
the first part of May, asking for it, and we said we'll do it later when there's more concrete of what's gonna happen as far as the primary. We put it off.
yep, I found the email, so,
I think they sent you an email this morning too. I talked to them this morning
Yeah, we got a new one, yes,
Yeah.
we did, yeah.
because we have to by law increase the hours like Paul said. So I mean, we can't have somebody working an extra 6.5 hours and not pay them. I mean, that's what we pay regular poll people.
Yep, so from the original, from the email that they sent, April 1st, they anticipated a cost of $67,370 to cover all of this, and they're budgeted for $56,000. So my question was just, can they find it someplace else to transfer it in? Otherwise, you're gonna have to go to contingency to cover the $11,000.
I think because it is imminent that we probably need to take it out of contingency.
Well, let's see if they can find it in their budget.
I was down there this morning and I think they were saying they need that amount of the money, but you want to circle back to them?
No, I mean, you can go ahead and ask them to find, to do a budget transfer out of another existing line and see. That's what we would ask every department, that you find a place to pay it within your budget and hope, and some things change and there might be a savings someplace later in the year. Does that sound like a plan?
Well, that's what we usually do anyway.
Yeah, it's normal operating
Can we pass that
procedure.
and let Donna work out the details about the transfer of the budget?
Right.
If there's no funds within the budget, you've got to take it from contingency.
Right.
I mean, at the last, we got to do it.
Usually the pass the rate increase.
No, but that's our last resort.
Yes, last resort.
See, they don't sell
But I
it.
think what Paul is
They
saying,
get that.
so I think what Paul is saying is have us approve Donna being able to find, can they get it from contingency? If they can't get it from, can they get it from adjusting their own internal budget? If they can't, we approve that it comes from contingency.
Quite frankly-
Maybe cut back on overtime somewhere. or
Well,
something
there's
like
different
that.
areas. I mean, right now, there's no travel, right? We're not approving conferences, so there's a good chance, it would be nice to have a plan, but there's a good chance they can find some extra money here and there. Basically, there's spending freeze going on in different areas, so.
And the number of primaries has been cut back.
It doesn't matter, there's only one primary, Paul. It doesn't matter if you have 1 or 500. You still have to do the same work.
But they were scheduled for different dates though, weren't they, between the state and the federal? And they consolidated them into one.
Right, but
He's saying they budgeted for 2 primaries, they're only gonna have 1, so maybe that's part of, that'll take up part of that.
Yeah, so
I think what we have to do in any of, I think what we should do in any event is guarantee that, let them try to find it from their budget, but whatever the case is, we're gonna pay these people $175, or you're just not gonna get poll workers. I mean,
Why don't
you
we
know,
just let Donna, Board of Elections talk it out? And then we come up with more
you
solution.
need a resolution today to
I'm just
increase their
saying,
pay.
but that-
Yeah,
I'll give you the okay to
Is that
negotiate.
okay, Paul?
Paul, you wanna make the motion?
yeah.
yes.
I'll work with them on their budget.
Okay, when we go to
That's all we
resolution.
gotta do. Okay, it's not like-
I'm good.
Talk about that all day then.
Anybody got anything else?
So we're gonna increase the poll workers' salary to,
From 130 to 170.
175, I just emailed you, Penny.
And it's the same as election day, as soon as they get together.
Oh,
I didn't know they got that.
You okay?
yeah, it's warm in here. Is it not warm in here?
Not yet.
to,
It's a little warm in here.
I don't know.
Is it?
Yeah, I didn't.
I'm comfortable.
Right there.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I know I'm 59, but
It already is like that.
I said, listen to you.
There's a lot of hot air in here.
It's not, I found it warm too.
And this is my squeaky chair.
Yeah, they don't even hear it.
Keep going.
I left my parachute.
we digress sometimes, but.
Oh.
So does anybody have anything that we want to discuss, that we need to discuss?
So, do we have any feedback on the CHIPS money?
Not yet.
Not
I don't
yet.
think so.
No, so I inquired about that this week as well, and NISAC said that they would intervene and try to get a straight answer out of Albany to see when that money's going to get released, and do we anticipate a reduction on that, so.
And then
It's
we'll-
just really hard to move
It
forward
looked
on
like the state's
anything.
giving a 20% reduction on everything was the minimum, wasn't it?
Yep. But the issue is that he's waiting for that stimulus package, but we can't wait, right? I mean, it's,
spend it either.
and we can't spend it.
Can't spend what you don't have.
So then,
Donna, the gist of it was they're saying, there, go ahead with your project, and, you know, but you gotta be cautious.
But that came from a senator, right?
Assembly.
Assemblyman, yeah.
Yeah, that's his opinion.
That's his opinion. Was it assembly? Yeah. It wasn't like, actual, budget statement. It was his appeal, I believe, to them to say, come on, release the money.
And unless you hear it from the Department of Budget, you really don't know, and then you really don't know. I don't think today, everything is so up in the air.
so I heard back relative to caucuses, and caucuses are considered essential meetings.
Okay,
So we can hold the caucus as an essential meeting, and we just need to make sure that people are socially distanced and feel comfortable as they come in.
So Lindy, Senator Little, I believe, was saying today, or one of the discussions, I believe that Senator Little said that you can hold groups, you just gotta minimize them to 10. So you could have 10 people in one room and 10 people in the next, I believe.
well,
You-
that's
you
not
have-
what, we
you
were
have
told no
both-
subdivision yesterday on the phone.
Because that's what churches have been asking for.
We were
They said
told,
no.
yeah, you cannot subdivide to get around the 10 or less mass gathering.
How many people do you believe are gonna show up at your caucus?
We don't know.
Yeah.
However,
That'd be 30 anyway.
we've had about 40 in the past. We've had, the top number has been 80. But the Board of Elections here went through the State Board of Elections, and they said it's an essential meeting, just do social distancing and wearing masks.
So where do you propose to hold the caucus? Like at the Harrietstown Town Hall in the auditorium, someplace
Yes.
big like that?
And then we would space out the chairs to be distant from one another.
And everybody has to wear a mask.
Yep.
I can't believe you can go to the beach, and you can have multiple people there, but you can't have other people.
But that's what they're telling us. I know, we don't believe a lot of stuff either, but that's what they're telling us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Attend a riot.
so much for freedom of religion.
Well, I put that out again today, right, Don?
Yep.
I have put that question out. Can churches set up a system much like outdoor dining, right? And hold outdoor services? I sent that to the control room this morning.
Good.
Every day we bring up churches and their ability to have services.
Yep, every day, and it just.
Every day.
Get an answer. Yeah.
Yes, years ago.
Something we just trying to do.
500 per
person.
I know, we're never telling me.
Every meal.
So Lindy, what's the name of your caucus?
We just heard this information today, so we'll have to give 5 days' notice in the press, and so it will be before July 23rd. It's for a November election.
Short town.
The part that's hard is the part where you wear a mask, you know, or keep 6 feet apart. Leave it at that. Don't put no number on it. If you're 6 feet apart, what difference does it make?
Well, we've been stressing that, Paul, but it just
Yeah,
doesn't.
I know, and I appreciate it, Don, I appreciate it, I know you guys have. It's
Wear a
confusing.
mask.
And we aren't the only ones stressing. I mean, there's people from Watertown and Plattsburgh that really have some things that they would like to do with can't do it.
So I wanted to mention, and Paul Maroon, you might be interested in this. I decided to do an experiment. I stood outside of our Saranac Lake stewards with a basket of 40 masks. And I had a sign that said, "Be kind to your neighbor, please wear a mask." And I handed out masks until I handed out all 40 masks. It took me 2 hours because 95% of the people had masks.
Oh, that's good to know.
It was good to know. And in that time, in all the hundreds of people that went by, there was only one person who grumbled a little bit under her breath when I offered her a mask. And otherwise, they were all polite, and some of them were actually even thankful. They said, oh my God, I didn't know what I was going to do. I forgot my mask. Thank you for being here.
Did anybody get a picture of you, Lindy?
No.
Could you share that, please?
No, but I will do this experiment again. I went to our Tops market and I said, would you be willing, and I did this at Stewart's. I said, is it okay for me to stand outside giving out masks? They said, yeah, go ahead. And I went to Tops and I said, can I stand outside and give out masks? They said, yeah, go ahead. So I'm doing this just as an experiment to sense how many people are wearing masks and are they angry? And my sense was, no, that the vast majority of people were saying, thank you for doing
There's
this.
a big auction this weekend if you wanna go.
So
That's
that
good
was my-
news.
It is, it's interesting to me.
Well,
I'm a sociology major.
We're really very fortunate. Everywhere you go, people are wearing masks. They really are.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere, so it's hard for me to see.
Well, most people are courteous of the other people, and that's all it is, it's a courtesy.
So where's your next stop?
Tops Market. I'm going to stand outside.
Well, I want a picture, Lindy. Come
Okay,
on.
I'll ask someone to take a picture.
Well, Donna, you got a chance to go for a ride.
Yeah, so I can do it.
Get a free mask.
I got masks.
Well, unless somebody's got something else, it's 10:30, we'll call the meeting to order and pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Don, did Katie ever sign in 10:15? She didn't sign in, okay.
I just called and left a message.
Okay. I noticed Katie was on the agenda, I wasn't sure if she'd called in, we just didn't know.
I'm on the line.
Oh, she's
Hi,
on.
Katie.
There we go.
Okay, you're up.
Okay, thank you very much. I had asked for some meeting time to update the board on some issues, and I'm hoping you can hear me. Otherwise, please interrupt me. I think I'm off mute and should be able to be heard pretty well, but it's so hard on the telephone to determine that at any rate. I wanted to update the rabies program so far. And normally we had a county vet contract that was signed usually every year. This year, Dr. Nephew did not want to sign the contract. So we have been courting other vets in terms of their interest, in terms of actually helping us specifically with the clinics. We've got the tags back. We've got vaccine. We have everything that we need back. Our infrastructure is here. We're just looking to see if we can get some vets to work with us. So my ask is if there are any town or village veterinarians that anybody might work with, if they might be willing to take a call from me, I'll start there. I did say to Dr. Nephew that when we do a clinic up in this area, when things reopen, I volunteered. I'm going to give him the first call to see if he's interested in participating, and certainly just said that's a courtesy, and you've been with us all this time, and just want to let you know I'll give you the first shot at anything that might be coming up here. He certainly is taking care of his clients in terms of rabies specimen submissions, so it's not like he's dropped out completely, but in terms of the county veterinarian part, he did ask, or he did not sign that contract. The other thing I wanted to update on was just to review some backfill requests and give an update on the lease agreement that we're working with, because I am requesting backfills for the community health nurse, the preparedness person from public health, and then an RN for home care. And one of the lease staff is returned back to Alice Hyde, We do have one still working with us. And with our increased issues with isolation and quarantine, we certainly have her working full-time and giving her a lot to do. And it's also in the context of one of our nurses is retiring in 2 weeks. So that one lease person is going to be maintained at least till we see how the retirement of the nurse here goes forward. Other than the resolutions that I had, the one about the therapists and their training, apparently I didn't realize it, but they have been given, training and in-service rate when they teach us things. And I hadn't noticed until very recently that a rate hadn't been established. So that's actually catching up the resolution with the actual practice. And the other item, of course, is left over almost from the January timeframe, and that's catching up with our home health aid rate. And finally, we got our immunization grant. So the third resolution is about appropriating those funds. And those are the things I wanted to update you about and offer any time for any other questions that might be happening throughout the whole world of public health.
So Katie, on the positions that you requested, did you want to give any thought to any kind of restructuring? Your office at all? Is there any gap that if we could maneuver some things around?
I think at this point, my most urgent request would be that preparedness person. We don't have much activity right now for the community health nurse because that would be the maternal child visits, that would be our early intervention visits, and they're not even being allowed. So if I could prioritize and put some of the others on hold, I would request that preparedness person move forward. And the only other thing about the community health nurse is that we heard that there's a master's prepared instructor from North Country Community College who might be looking for work. So we thought that would be a match if we could catch her during, the summer season before she might sign up. So,
Katie, can we talk a little bit later? Because I also think there is someone that that was employed with us that is interested in coming back as well, and I just don't want to get into the details.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know that I was beginning to process that, and sure, if you want me to give you a call later, Donna, or today, tomorrow, sure. Okay.
So,
So explain to me why child intervention is not allowed at this time.
nope, they won't let them.
Neither is preschool. They're not allowing face-to-face visits.
But we can allow face-to-face hair salons and barber shops, and we can allow face-to-face at restaurants and face-to-face at convenience
We don't make
stores.
the law, we don't have to follow it.
I mean, but child intervention is extremely important for some of these individuals that are having,
Well, for occupational therapy, speech therapy,
I think that needs to go to Governor Cuomo's
Yeah.
office, because
I can understand
That's a big
speech
need.
therapy and occupational therapy, because speech therapy, you have to look at the mouth.
well, right, so they should be in person.
They should be
Yep.
in person, and
Yep.
you can't wear a mask for speech therapy, so.
I mean, you can do it with social distancing appointments. I mean, I think healthcare, if they're not allowing that, that's something that we need to fight
Well,
back
we
on.
can put it on the 2:00 meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's preschool also. They're barely allowing telehealth visits for the preschool youngsters.
That is absolutely absurd,
There's a lot of inequities, that's for
that we're
sure.
not allowing things that are public safety for children, but we're allowing things for hair salons and barbershops. I mean, I get it, we need businesses going, but we also need to protect the children in our community, and they need the services.
They're like our seniors, they're the most.
Or, yeah, the children and our seniors.
So Katie, also talk to us a little bit, you have a nurse retiring in a week,
Yes, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And what would you like to do with that? Is that the RN that you want to backfill? Or is that?
That is our plug in the dike for the CHN. This is the nurse that we pulled over way back when to support public health, because in December we lost one CHN to a job change, and then in January we lost another CHN to a retirement. So I'm just still playing catch up at this point. So I'm looking at the CHN in lieu of and or at least in the context of supporting that person who's leaving in 2 weeks.
Okay, so you'll talk to Donna also
Yep.
about that.
Yep, certainly.
And for the legislators, what Donna and Katie work out, we will be supportive of their decisions in terms of what they're thinking to cover this. I hear nodding of heads, I see nodding of heads.
All righty.
Then do you bring it back to the next meeting?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks. We'll be next
We
Thursday.
can we'll email around too. They're backfills for the moment, so,
Yeah, they're backfills.
yeah.
Yeah.
The resolution's not
Not
required.
required.
Nope. I just wanted to give the background of the backfill request because there were a few of them. But I will give you a call later.
I was just judging the support of this. Yeah, okay, all right. Katie, any other things that you're following up on, things that you would think would be important for us to know relative to COVID-19 or quarantine or isolation?
One thing I would discuss is the fact that the state had worked with the School of Public Health through Johns Hopkins and former Mayor Bloomberg, and we are in training regarding their communicable disease system. And so we have our staff learning that system. Also, our volunteers, we have our volunteer contact tracers are also in training. And we actually only did lose one volunteer contact tracer because they felt that the technology was too far beyond them. So we are working with learning that state communicable disease system. It's a lot of kinks because we were the rollout. So other than that, I think we're as stable as we can as far as the pandemic.
Okay, good. I heard from one of the contact tracers that initially when they were exposed to the system just on paper form, they went, oh, I'm not sure I can do this.
Yeah.
But then when they took the training, they said, oh, that's not as complex as I thought it would be. So they said they were very comfortable with it.
Yep. And we had all staff take that training because, although some are experienced contact tracers, we all wanted to start with the same playing field. And so we all watched it and we all took that as our baseline. So that was actually pretty helpful too.
Good. Any questions from anyone else?
No, I think it's good.
Thank you very much, Katie. Anything else you need?
No, not at this time. And I guess I just want to say it's okay for me to sign off, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Have a good rest of your afternoon. And Donna, I will call you this afternoon.
Okay,
But you have a 2:00 call, did I hear?
yeah, Katie, probably 1 o'clock would be best if you're free.
Okay. All righty. Thank you very much. Everybody take care, stay healthy, and be well, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Back in order.
Sorry.
Legislator Lozon?
Yeah.
Legislator Geneseo.
Here.
Legislator Dumas.
Here.
Legislator Lockwood.
Here.
Legislator Marone.
Here.
Legislator Ellis.
Here.
Legislator Review.
Here. Here.
Okay, I have prepared the minutes from the May 21st, 2020 meeting.
I get a motion and a second to accept the minutes, Lindy and Greg. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay, for correspondence, I have a financial report from Capital District Regional Off-Track Bank Corporation ending November 30th, 2019, and an audited financial statement, supplemental, and other information from Capital District Regional Off-Track Betting Corporation for the years ending December 31st, 2019 and 2018.
I get a motion and a second. Paul
So
Marone.
moved.
Any discussion? It's like a book, if anybody wants to read it, she's got it here, but it's thick. But, all in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay, for resolutions, I have resolution number 121, offered by Administrative Committee, relating to establishing a standard workday for elected and appointed officials for New York State and local retirement system.
So moved.
Okay, a second. All those on, any discussion? The only thing I can say is, I think these hours are a little bit low.
Oh, yeah.
Anything, I think we need to look at them down the road, but, huh? Well, I think all of us, it's a little bit low, but, we need to look at them down the road, but.
Yeah, I agree. I think we put more hours in than people understand.
Yeah, and I wish that's all we put in.
So I do have like forms that you have to be certified.
Yeah, I think it's good for this year, and then maybe next year we look at changing that. It's, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay, resolution number 122, offered by Finance Committee, relating to award of insurance coverage.
Your motion in a second. Greg? Lindy? Any discussion?
Don, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
We talked about the other day, is the difference in the, I think it was liability, I forget which one it was, is that being picked up by, is that going to be picked up by FEMA?
No, the difference is because of the increase in special patrol officers, so it'll be picked up by the schools.
I meant the schools, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Resolution number 123, offered by Human Resource Committee, relating to authorization to amend resolution number 118, authorization to enter into a contract and amend 2020 budget review services.
Motion in a second. I don't like that where I gotta keep looking back and forth. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Resolution number 124, authored by Public Safety Committee, relating to authorization to enter into a contract with Kevin F. Nichols.
Motion in a second. Paul, Lindy, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 He's the Village Malone's attorney.
Oh, okay. Those opposed, nay. One abstain.
Thank you, Donna, for
Okay.
what you did on that, because you did some finagling
Yeah, you
I
did a
did.
good job on that.
and negotiating.
I did do some negotiating.
Good job.
I gotta get a new car next month.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it, I'm not gonna lie. People take me to buy cars. They do.
Houses.
If BJ wasn't on, I'd tell you a story, but I can't have it in the paper, so.
Wait till later.
Yeah.
Okay, resolution number 125, offered by Human Resource Committee, relating to authorization to accept immunization action plan grant funds, public health services.
Motion in a second. Olivia? Paul?
Second.
We're good to the Paul. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Resolution number 126, offered by Human Resource Committee relating to authorization to establish charges Franklin County Public Health Service.
Motion is second, Andrea. Lindy, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Resolution number 127, offered by Human Resource Committee relating to increase Medicaid rate for home health aides under a contract between Franklin County Public Health Nurses and North Country Home Services.
Motion is second, Andrea. Paul, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Resolution number 128, offered by Finance Committee, is relating to authorization to amend resolution number 90, extension of time for collection of real property taxes pursuant to section 938, waiver of 100% penalties, or 1% penalties due during the months of April and May 2020, and extension of time to pay penalty charges due to the county for 2020 real property taxes.
Your motion is second. Greg, Lindy, any discussion on this? I think we discussed this last week about
Right.
some of the things.
Grant said it's working.
Yep,
Yep.
so let's keep it going. Yep. And then if we need to extend it again, we can, we have that on. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay, we have a resolution from the floor, so it has to go without objection. This resolution number 129, offered by the Public Safety Committee relating to a request to use forfeiture funds to renovate the space on the third floor for the grand jury.
Motion in a second. All, ready?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
And we have another resolution from the floor, so it has to go without objection. Resolution number 130 from the, offered by Administrative Committee relating to authorization to increase the daily rates for the election workers.
Motion in a second. All, Lindy, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Is that it? Anything else that come before the board?
There was a request from North Country Community College that came through John Miller. Do we want to discuss that? And is that an executive session?
I forwarded it,
Right, but it's not really us.
that's not our decision tonight, but I did forward
It
it.
was just for information you sent that to us.
I thought that they were asking us to see if we would be willing to see if we have coverage for it.
I sent it.
John did that.
Okay.
Anytime anything comes in, I send it off.
Rainbow Lake Water Protection District, did we need to bring that up for a resolution, or was that just an inquiry?
I sent a letter, I think, did I send a letter
Okay,
out in
so we're
support
good,
of that? Yeah.
okay, so we're good there, okay, I just have that on my list.
Oh, and then I also talked to DEC on it.
Okay.
They're gonna send a letter, and before they send the letter, they're gonna, they don't have the manpower to put another.
Person on the board.
So, but it just, because of the cost, it may cost us to do that, we may put it off for a while to change that local law.
Okay.
But they're gonna send a letter, DEC's gonna send a letter out.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, just send it, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's good to keep it up, because sometimes we have so much going on.
Enough of that.
Rainbow Lake has in the local law that we did, says that they have to have somebody from DEC on their board. DEC says they don't have the manpower to keep sending somebody, they don't mind if there's a special instance, but they can't have a full-time person on that, person that goes to every one of their meetings. So what's gonna happen is, they're gonna send a letter saying they don't wanna do that, and we're gonna have to do a new local law that will remove that out of there, so that they don't have to. But he's gonna send them a letter saying, they're not gonna say something to them if they don't allow that.
Okay.
not be able to.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Makes good sense.
Anything else? It's-
We're organizing a southern end food delivery, hopefully for, I wrote it down in my office, next Wednesday or Sunday. He's just putting the orders in. We have one this weekend for Franklin County.
So you got produce and everything in that.
Yeah, so there's 1,500 boxes of produce, dairy, and 4,500 gallons of milk. And then partnering up with that, United Way is bringing 1,500 bundles of toilet paper, Community Connections, and the school, not the district, but the teachers union or something.
Federation, Malone Federation of Teachers.
Yeah, Angela Trombley is bringing,
Yeah.
personal hygiene
Yeah,
items
I
and
see
like
that.
that.
That's unbelievable.
Yep, and then, another group is coming with, that will work in the, as they're parked in their cars, giving out information on breast cancer and prostate
No,
cancer.
last time you had 3,000 gallons of milk, now you're gonna have.
Yeah, now we have 4,500. We did this same giveaway in Clinton County last weekend. Amazing.
So- So in,
Well,
so you're saying Wednesday or Sunday?
yeah, we're gonna try
Southern-
Wednesday or Saturday.
Wednesday or Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, and, about the same amount, do you think?
No, I think, the first one will be milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there any
And-
way that we could do something with the seniors? I mean, I know that most of the
Yeah.
seniors wouldn't wanna sit in line for, because they're gonna be in line.
Yeah, and I said that to Sean, I said, is there a way that I can get a number from each legislator, say, 200 boxes will go to Bombay,
Yeah.
and you can,
Or my
Yeah.
district, as a
Yeah.
whole, and I can make sure they got
Can
distributed.
we do anything through a delivery, through
Home delivered meals?
home delivered meals? I wonder. Probably can't handle that kind of volume.
yeah, because the boxes are pretty big. I mean, the
No.
boxes are like,
We don't have the,
But I
Yeah.
could take like my truck and I could go.
Right,
I could-
right,
I could
yeah.
try to figure out
Or-
ask each town who they have.
or like I said to him, I said, we can schedule, that legislator's district at one time with, just senior boxes.
Try to hit the center of it,
Yeah.
where they can come from. both
Because
ways.
we did do a delivery at Sawyer Ave in Valley Ridge last week.
Yeah.
He had some boxes left over from another one that he did. And there's a lot of food in there for the seniors. It was almost too much for them. So if we could do like a smaller version, we're throwing that back and forth, but it's something to do with the
Yeah.
USDA requirements too,
Yeah,
so.
So, help me understand, how does this get communicated? I don't want to communicate it too early.
Right, once we know that he gets the delivery and he has a driver, so he's trying to do it when he has drivers available and not
but- Okay,
go around his regular schedule. Facebook, we did a robocall last time, for Franklin County. We could probably do a segregated robocall for the district,
okay,
yeah, because Ricky has all that anyway.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
because
And,
not all seniors have Facebook, obviously, or social media.
Maybe I don't remember when I see 911 call me.
so,
me too.
so,
I gotta go.
has he identified a
I don't know.
and does he have volunteers?
No, we would have to get the volunteers through your, that community's group. He brings the truck and brings one man to drive the truck. And
Okay,
then we would so the one I have this Sunday coming up, I reached out to friends and saying, I need 30 volunteers because we're gonna have 5 different stations. And we'll have, people at each station. And it's easy to get volunteers when you ask people if they wanna help.
okay.
And
And
like maybe a school parking lot, because you want them to go in one way and out another.
I would think the high school parking lot would be a good way. And if this is going to be for milk, then would it be like 6 volunteers, because there's not 5 locations, or what would you think in terms of
We
number of
did
volunteers?
15 volunteers just because of the amount of traffic we had. We did in 2.5 hours, 602 cars.
Uh-huh.
And it goes back, it's a lot of work, after a while, those gallons start to become heavy on people. And it's like you're moving.
Especially when you're not used to working with
Yeah.
that stuff.
You guys did a great job that day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot
It
of work.
was quick, yeah.
If you ever need help, I know you always get a lot in this area, but if you're over my way or something,
Right.
I don't mind helping
And
you.
we would like to, I was just talking to Sean about it, because I said, it would be nice if we could go to specific communities and reach out to the seniors and say, hey, listen, come in and get, you know, a couple gallons of milk or.
Maybe set a time for just the seniors
Right.
first, right? To
Right.
be able to come and,
So you pretty much coordinate this with them then?
Yeah.
And
We-
Tony said, if you needed to let us know.
Yeah.
When we did the one here in Malone, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago it was, it started at 9, they started lining up at 6.
I know, I heard, I got pictures.
Yeah, it was busy. It was really busy.
Yeah,
But, you know, it's a great opportunity too for these communities, and Sean's doing it as many counties as he can. He would like to, you know, do a little bit more here, because this is his hometown, and he, you know, so,
When you get up here, you gave it all away.
oh yeah,
You read out, actually.
we actually ran out, and we could have, so now we only had 3,000 gallons then, so we've upped it to 4,500.
that is a lot of milk.
But
And
you
it's
give
a lot of boxes of produce,
It's a lot of work.
so, it was a lot of work.
Well, you were given 6 gallons, so.
You could take up to 6 gallons,
So are there any signs that are required, or does he bring the signs?
No, we didn't, I did signs myself, I just printed some signs off my office computer and said, you know, sponsored by JCO, thank you for donating, your trucks and your drivers, Sean, but like, I did those, I did some social distancing signs. Nobody gets out of their car, and when they do, we ask them to get back in their car, we load it right in the car, everybody has masks on, you know, it was
Great
good.
program.
Yeah.
So, maybe we can talk afterwards, and you could send me the signs that you, have
Yep.
already made up.
And you share it on Facebook, I think you always.
I share it on Facebook, I developed a little flyer with a cow on it.
Well, that was cute.
Yeah, it was a lot of
I
work.
see that.
I'm like, I'm not a developer. I'm not a graphic artist,
Graphic artist.
graphic artist.
Yeah.
Thank God we have graphic artists.
Yes.
We're gonna go into executive session. Is there anything else before we go into executive session? John, what do you want?
So we're going into executive.
Hold on.
Wait.